It's Cass's intro day.
Get ready for it. About to be the best intro you've ever heard.
Oh my God, this is going to be the best.
Fantastical Friday. Finding your footing. Being with friends. And appreciating the changes that the full moon eclipse brought.
Ay, ay,
Ay,
ay.
ay, ay.
Making music, making memories. Whoa.
Goofing around,
Yeah.
playing around, getting down, not taking anything too seriously.
Rolling with the flow.
Rolling with the flow, in the great words of one of our favorite musicians ever, Kurt Weill.
Yeah.
Which I was telling Sean when I first heard that song, like if you're a songwriter, you've written that song at some point, like the concept of that song, Rolling with the Flow, you know?
Yeah.
But I think every songwriter I know, you just give up at some point because you, like, the word, it's so simple, the words that would go with it, but you gotta like really embody that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a really difficult thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, Kurt was the one to do it perfectly. That's one of my favorite songs ever from him as well.
my
You know, the
gosh.
words, so that's like all the whole thing, you know,
Yeah.
the whole shebang. Yeah. Yeah.
It's making me think that we have a channel on the Discord that's art prompts where people can throw out prompts and then people do like a kind of a theme. And I think I've really been dreaming for a long time to have like kind of a music prompt where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, here's a theme and like, what's your contribution? And maybe like keep it under a minute so that everyone can listen to everybody's.
Oh,
We should
people
do
put
like
in.
a monthly music prompt.
We talked about that a while
This would
ago.
be- I love it. I love this idea.
Oh, I do too. Because especially like everyone's aching to put their music out and to have the excuse.
And a reason to create music. And sometimes like you can get writer's block or be confused. And I think when you say like, okay, Friday, we're talking about the flow, you can also be more playful because maybe you wouldn't normally talk about the flow. Not that every song's not about the flow, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's what's so brilliant about that song. It's like, oh man, you're saying the thing, man.
Right.
Okay, cool. We've all thought it, but you're
Yeah.
saying it.
Yeah.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah.
So if you want to hop on our Discord, that art prompts channel is so dope. It's
Very
Just getting started,
inspiring.
guys. Just getting started.
yeah, but just like we did a Church of Chill episode called Rabbits of the Void, and you put that up as an art prompt, like, hey, listen to this, and make some art for it, and people are sending in paintings and drawings. I'm blowing my fucking mind.
Yeah.
And
I
they can
love
kind
it.
of match the theme, like also the vibe. And that's the good thing about having a music episode as a prompt is because you don't have to do a rabbit. You can just do something that is what the music made you feel, you know. And that's why it's so great. What's this make you feel? What little doodle does this bring up in you right now?
What little diddly.
What a little diddly.
Yeah, so if you want to get involved with that shit, patreon.com/Church of Chill. Lots of stuff on there. People know about it, but like it's pretty rad. People are starting to really come over to us.
Yeah.
The
Well,
support
everybody
is
that's come
happening.
over seems to be incredibly radical,
Yeah.
and talented and inspiring and
Yeah.
creative and engaged.
The
so
fucking
that's,
coolest.
That's nice.
Inspires us to want to create more containers.
Yes,
for that
absolutely.
stuff.
Absolutely. Because you see how simple it is just to have the Discord and like God, the multitudes of universes it's blooming within
Holy
it. You know what I
shit.
mean?
And friendships.
I was talking to my friend
friendships and-
James last night, and I was like, he was telling me about this trip he took, and he's like, well, and then I visited Matt, and I'm like, I'm thinking, you met Matt through the Discord, and that's just so cool that
Yeah.
you then not only are like meeting friends who you can then share art with or music or whatever it is, but also like, hey, now I know someone who lives in Utah or wherever, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in heavily changing times, finding people with resonance so that you can share your desired shared future reality, so that that belief in you is more bolstered up, and therefore you can be more in line with your manifestation, is obviously huge too, because it can seem like there's so much difference between us right now with everything that's going on. And I think when you find other people that, are thinking the same things and have the same kind of goals for their life, it can really validate the ones that you have. And you don't feel so
Absolutely.
ostracized about them, and you can start believing in them more. Because, you're like, oh shit, this other person's on the same kind of a trip,
It used to be so hard.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, I know it still is hard to make friends. In a way, it's harder than it used to be, but it used to be so hard to find your specific people. And now, like, the internet makes it so much easier. And it reminds me of this Robert Anton Wilson quote: "The future exists first in imagination, then in will, and then in reality." I think that speaks to what you were just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it takes that, the imaginal belief has to be paired with the will, and it can't be paired with the will without, I think, that sort of a validation. And some people can do it against all odds and against all resonances, but it's helpful for me, even though I haven't been as engaged, like, to just know that there are people on there and creating stuff, and just
Oh,
that
yeah.
in itself.
Oh yeah, we welcome the lurkers.
Yeah. It's like when we were on the Vision Quest, and they're like, we'll be holding a fire here for all 4 days for 24 hours. And it's like, you're not part of that fire. You're not getting warmed by that fire. You're like out in the cold, in the rain with no shelter. But just knowing there's some motherfuckers over there holding down that fire, it was like, it fucking got me through that thing. And then they would just like ring a bell every now and then, and you're like, oh yeah, they're over there fucking holding the fire. Fuck yeah. Solidarity.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's like a bonfire constantly going.
A digital bonfire where you can
Yeah.
add a log.
Yeah,
you
go
know?
throw a log on.
Yeah. I had a kind of an interesting conversation with my father about the changing times and people being more connected and less connected. And God, like, the fact that he wrote what I was saying just spoke so much to me. But he was talking about how his new associates were more disassociative, like the younger partners and stuff that he had, and they would be on phone calls, these voice conferences, and they wouldn't have their mics on, he was saying, or their video on, and there was just like a lot of this desired disengagement, which he can't really understand. And I was talking to him about, like, it's because we're all more psychically connected now, and there's like this need, people feel this need to disassociate because it's become more intense to be more intimate, and so people have all these like intimacy problems,
Yeah.
he was at first like, oh, I don't think that. I think people are more connected because of the internet. But then we got around to agreeing. So he was like, yeah, but it is all more disassociative. You're right. And I used the word cold, and he was like, it's colder. And for an Aquarius, a 6-planet Aquarius, to say it's colder, that shit is icy.
Ice cold.
That shit is icy. My father said it's cold. I would die in that temperature. That's way past my freezing point. So that would like felt profound, and it just feels like this community feels like such an exception, or such like a pushback on a lot of what's happening, because it feels like everyone on there is so engaged and vulnerable. When you share your art, you have to be vulnerable, and so it feels like intimate, I think, a lot of the times right off the bat for people. They get in this community, they're like, whoa, like people are sharing so much about themselves, and it feels like a warm little hub on the internet, because usually, like, I just had to delete Instagram again. I can't handle social media. I can't handle life right now. I'm getting crushed by it. But Discord feels like a weird, fire's a good
It feels like it doesn't count.
metaphor.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, like the other social media, it saps my energy. My energy bar goes a little, but Discord, I think it's because it's like, it's our friends, or like people we want to be friends with.
Well, I think it's trying to foster more connection than separation, not like, oh, look at me and what I'm doing. It's like, oh, I'm doing this to encourage you to do it yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm being vulnerable. I'm sharing my art. I'm talking about something I've gone through, a breakup or whatever it is, because I know there are other motherfuckers on here who have been through that shit, and knowing that there's like a base level resonance of prioritizing the art of chill,
Yeah.
We're getting pretty good at that.
Yeah. We have our moments, but we're not.
Yeah, of course.
What are you guys talking about?
But for the most part, we practice what we preach. We're trying to get back to chill.
Yeah.
We know that there's at least a goal.
Yeah.
There's always a goal, is to get back to that thing.
Well, that's why it's embarrassing when you're holding out, because you're like, oh, you're gonna hold out on the chill, and sometimes I'm the one holding out on the chill, you know.
It's a good way to phrase it, holding out on the chill.
Why are you holding out your chill
Holding
on us?
out, yeah.
Come on, stop. Let it out.
Easy.
No, it's you know how like the Christians worship Jesus, and you know I always think of Christ as a form of consciousness, not necessarily a man you should get fixated on.
Yeah.
We're like cutting to the chase, and we're like, this is a form of consciousness. Chill is a form of consciousness that's been beaten out of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking totally beaten out of us in every way, from every angle, for generations, and we're trying to reclaim that. We've reclaimed that in ourselves by making some sacrifices in terms of comfort, but we've learned how to chill, and we're trying to hold that space for other people to come around to that thing in themselves, you know.
Yeah, I think, sometimes when people told me to chill when I wasn't chill when I was younger, it felt really oppressive because it felt like I just want to be experiencing what I'm experiencing. I don't want to have to get to like a certain place that somebody wants me to be at about something. You know what I mean? Like I just want to be allowed to be upset about something. It felt very like, why can't I just feel the way that I feel? And I think like these days when I'm in those moments, like I still have that child that comes up that's like, I just want to fucking go in it.
Yeah.
Because I was around people that were so good about never going into anything, like masters of disassociation, you know what I mean? And now finally, through my Saturn return in Aquarius, like I'm learning that skill and learning that there's like an actual healthy way that disassociation has to enter your life for you to even be able to master something like chill, you know what I mean?
Wow.
To hold a baseline like that, you know what I mean? And a lot of times I'm such a inferno and volcano of whatever is going on, I have to physically move through it, you know, and that's what you spoke to, like working out and like singing for me right now. If I can't run or whatever, it's another one of those things that's just like a sure way. But sometimes it feels like there's no other way for me to move the amount of energy that gets forced into me when I get upset. It feels like there's no amount of words, there's no amount of like thought forms that we can get through. Like I literally just need to like sweat this fucking poison out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We need to open and figure out in our lives what are our portals to chill.
Yeah.
You know, we all have these portal guns.
Well, we were talking about learning how to learn. You got to learn how to chill, like what works for you, you know, how to like bring yourself to a more zen state of awareness, you know, accepting and open and receptive and not guarded. And yeah.
Do you want to pull a clarification card? You're the only one that hasn't pulled a card this week.
I know. I kind of want to pull from this other
I'll
deck.
clarify what you pull with tarot.
Okay,
All right.
cool.
Okay. What is this deck?
Tag team.
This is a deck that I said to Mara, like, hey, can you bring that deck over? I think it would be nice to play with a new deck.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's yours.
I never want to see it again.
Pretty much.
We have a kind of twisted relationship, me and this deck. Yeah, if you're not spiritual yet, just get some decks and see how you're the different ones have. Even if you're already not there, saying you have a relationship with them is probably far out. But you
Mara,
start to.
That's some really wholesome, good advice. If you're not spiritual, just get any deck.
Get a deck.
Get playing cards and start just pulling them.
Yeah.
You will fucking find the weirdest shit.
Yeah, especially if you know numerology with the playing cards, obviously. But I was so glad to gift this deck to Cass. I love getting to gift decks to people, obviously, that I'm not using all of the time.
33.
Cool.
Chaos and conflict.
Okay, well,
What do you have to say about that?
sounds like November.
Yeah. Sounds like this fucking Mars Squadron square.
It's a zebra just like kind of falling apart, you know, out there in the desert.
That's very interesting. It's a zebra with a giraffe print that's shedding into its really zebra print.
Chaos and conflict.
Shedding of skin.
Yeah, deaths.
Yeah. I think there is some stirring up of that energy with this Uranus-Saturn square. Uranus to me represents chaos, and Saturn represents order. I guess that's another good way to sort of like put them in contrast.
These two
to each other.
fell out.
Ooh, I love fallouts.
Yeah. These, Mayor's going to clarify,
Yes.
but here, maybe you hold them up.
Means you're a real shuffle, too. Shuffle, shuffle. Still the moon again.
These
Saw
two
the
that
Fool.
fell out are
Flexible.
deep knowing
Okay.
and flexible.
Yeah, deep knowing and flexible, which is a perfect after what we were just saying about chaos and conflict, is remember the deep knowing of that's what it is, and it's you're shedding to a new skin, but it requires a little flexibility, huh?
Well, it requires a willingness, and this is something I've used especially because politically I used to be a little bit more stilted, and I learned to like it would upset me so much when somebody would have just complete disagreements with me that I would like it would now I'm like, wait, I want to hear you. I want to hear where there might be flaws in my thinking. I want to learn. I'm less like well, here's what I think. I want to know what other people think. I'm trying to collect more data points, because how the fuck could I know what the hell is going on?
Well, you have to be wrong
in anything.
Well, you have to also be wrong so many times to kind of get bored with thinking you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I was going to say it sounds wisdom of age.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Oh, yeah. You just like learn to quiet down. And it's like, okay. Is this what you pulled as the
I
clarification?
did pull the Eight of Wands Unstoppable Force. So that's a pretty good beneficial clarifier to this. I kind of read it as like the unstoppable force of your passions in this Uranian energy, and how that can sometimes cause some chaos and conflict. That can cause chaos and conflict with older versions of yourself that want to hold on to older patterns holding you in low frequencies. It can cause chaos and conflict between you and people that have close relationships to you that maybe want to keep you at lower frequencies unknowingly. I think it can cause chaos and conflict externally, because it sometimes can feel like you have to go at war with things outside of yourselves.
Why do people want to keep you at a lower frequency? I know it. I can relate with that, and I feel that, but I'm like, why is that even? How is this possible?
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Such a good one. I'm glad you said that. Such a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just like, people want to be joined in there. People don't. It's hard. I think it's hard for people to see that you're doing better, and that there's this value system of like, you deserve better. Like we should have the same. Like we all deserve the same. And
I think it has to come with like an ego of knowing, of thinking like the data that you have has caused you to be miserable. So if someone else is not miserable with that data, they don't have enough data.
Totally. That's such a good way to put it.
But it can work the other way, where it's if someone's miserable and they want you to be miserable, you will have to just combat with your own data of, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think you definitely have to remember that when you're dealing with the internet and people being critical of you.
I mean, even like we see it. We see it with our friends. Someone experiences success, then there's someone to make fun of them. Like, come on, dead giveaway.
Yeah,
like,
jealousy. I feel like I deal with a lot of jealousy. Like sometimes, like with people's careers or what people have. You know what I mean?
When Cot Van D came out with that album, you were like, "This fucking hate my life."
But in those moments, I just have to remind myself, like, it's not because I'm a fucking bad person. It's just because like I want something that I don't currently have, and there's a chasm of dissonance between where I'm at and where I want to be, and somebody representing where you want to be is obviously just like a huge reminder of that.
Yeah.
A wonderful compass.
A wonderful compass. And so like welcome jealousy in. Yeah. Don't deny it or ignore it, because I think it could be a huge motivating factor. And it obviously should never turn into you wanting people to be down, and wanting to dog on people, because I think at the end of the day, the idea is that competition is inspiring, so you want other people to do well, and you still want to be upset about it.
Yeah. It's funny because jealousy is something that, like, I feel like we're taught to, like, beat out of ourselves.
Exactly.
It's a low frequency thing.
Exactly.
It's just like it's like anything. It's an alarm bell, and for like you just so beautifully described, it's an alarm bell about a chasm, and it should show you where your desires are at. Write that down.
Exactly.
Before you say the thing, before you say the fucking fuckhead
we're
asshole
so
thing.
human.
Oh, I know. I love it. I love
Very
it.
ape.
Yeah, we're very and very nice.
Yeah, but I love it. It calls for more awareness because then you can unpack like what these messages really are and what your true desires are, you know, which you have to do with everything, whether it's ragging on someone or what you think you need or what you want to buy or whatever. Oh, you've pulled a couple more clarifiers.
I'm doing so good this week with my pulls, if I can credit myself. So we have the 5 of Swords, which is this guy walking away from chaos and conflict. He's got a broken sword.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
And we have Victory. 6 of
Victory.
Wands.
Wow.
All right. Well, we're just still
All
making
these
it
wands, all these
Mm.
dicks flying through the air for us. Wands of passion,
Oh,
ignited.
It's a perfect follow up to this one.
Mm.
Yeah, you know what I mean. We're really
The 8 of Wands.
the realm of fire.
Mm.
I guess is what we're coming to master this week.
Well, it's been a damn pleasure hanging out this weird mid-November week with
Yeah.
people. You know, it's helping us get through for sure.
Yeah,
Having this space, the daily ritual.
yeah.
Too fun.
There's more. Patreon.com/churchofchill. Join up the Discord, like as we talked about.
I want to say a special thanks to everybody. I put out a little questionnaire survey, a Google form, and I really appreciate everyone who took the time to like respond. And it really did help guide us and does help guide us through encouragement and like knowing what feels good. And yeah, we keep wanting to evolve this and explore where we can bring this.
Yeah,
project.
we want to be as Saturnian as we are Neptunian. We don't
Right.
want to have boundaries. We want to
Yeah.
get better. We want this thing to evolve and
Yeah.
expand. And obviously, the audience is the most important thing to us. So we love to know what you think.
Now watch this drive.
What?
Ay, ay, ay.
I'm stoning it.
Happy Friday, happy weekends. We'll see you next week. We love you guys.